initially they said they were waiting on the gas department to get the gas line run under the railroad tracks.
They fixed that.
Yeah, that's been done for a good while now. And maybe weather, if they don't like doing that in winter.
Had the signage last week.
Well, they don't really like doing
Yeah,
it.
We're live, guys. I call this meeting of the Huntingburg Common Council to order. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, thank you for the commitment of these members here today and for the citizens that are present and for their concern upon our city. We ask that you be with us today and that you be with us and guide us in our decisions. These things we pray in your name. Amen. Yeah, got a copy of the minutes. Do we hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Everybody had a chance to review claims. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the claims.
I'll
We
second.
have a second, okay, we have a second hand. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Really, I have nothing new right now, just saying that we're now in the process of getting the signs and the placards and the training of our merchants for the door that the downtown the refreshment area. So hopefully our goal is to have it done by the end of the month or at least in time for the stroll. We actually have a meeting with the vendors after this meeting this evening, to kind of go through the rules and the presentations. Really, all we're waiting on right now are signs and the cups and things that we need to be in
So that's-
compliance.
That's when it will begin, at the end of the month, or as soon as,
Soon as
all
we
that's
get
up and
everything
done.
else.
and if people want to apply, is there still a window of time there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can all,
A vendor, a permitted retailer
Mhm.
with an alcoholic beverage permit, if they want to participate, they fill out a state form, and then they submit that to the city approves it, then we submit it to the state. And then the state approves it.
and there's a way for a temporary vendor for special events to be in the vendor area, and that could include existing restaurants and bars that are presently in the area too, that could be there for special events, but it's
Okay.
everybody that is eligible for it in that zone are approved in there, so we have not left anyone out. But there may be a couple new ones.
You never know.
But if they want to serve in Market Street Park, for instance, then they have to get a temporary permit for that.
Someone was asking me about the VFW, because they're right on the line there.
VFW is not in
In the
the
door.
door.
Okay.
Not saying that the council could not amend that.
Yeah, good.
So
Well, and I think that was kind of what they were asking, like if it was if they missed the boat or if it was.
I think the ordinance could be amended to include them.
We
The way I
would
understand
have
it,
to expand the area.
Because they're
door
right on the
area.
edge there. Yeah. Okay.
and we can't expand it into a residential area, so it'd be,
Just
Very
that.
narrow.
Yeah.
it'd just be a little notch.
Yeah.
And they'd have to abide by the same rules with the alcohol beverage.
Right.
That's not a bad idea though. For them.
Yeah, we've kind of been discussing it internally, but I will talk to them, see if there's some matters there. Okay. And nothing else. Phil?
You may remember last week or last month, I mentioned to you that the fire department was asking that the ordinance that governs this organization be revised to reflect what they're actually doing. The Board of Public Works and Safety have approved that and recommended that ordinance to this body. Currently, the ordinance provides that the mayor appoints the police, the chief of the fire department, and then the chief appoints two assistants. The chief hasn't used two assistants for a number of years now. And so he's asked that it be revised to say that the mayor appoints the chief, and the chief appoints one assistant. And then the chief can also appoint such subordinate officers as he deems necessary from time to time. I think there's some captains and lieutenants. And so that's what the proposed ordinance would do to reflect what's actually currently happening.
And that was also kind of came about as Chief Hine was updating the standard operating procedures, realizing that some of the titles that we were using our procedures didn't match the ordinance. And this cleans everything up and allows us to know who those designated people are.
I think I misspoke. This ordinance would provide that the mayor appoints both a chief and one assistant.
Right.
And then the chief appoints subordinate officers as he deems necessary.
And how does it currently read?
Currently reads the mayor appoints the chief and two assistants. And there's no provision for subordinate officers.
We've never had two
Chief Hine
chiefs,
Chief Hine has indicated that there's no need for two assistants. But he would like to have some subordinate officers that have certain duties that he assigns to.
He's appointing lieutenants and captains, and that type of thing to the structure of the organization, give people more responsibilities. And I talked to him yesterday about it. I'm perfectly fine with it.
The all members of the fire department serve at the mayor's pleasure. But the chief of the fire department could demote anyone he appoints to one of the subordinate offices. He could not remove them from the fire department. That's something that only the mayor can do. But he could demote them.
Should be 2024-06.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was to introduce.
Motion to introduce.
Mhm.
And suspend the rules and pass in the same night of reading. That's correct.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So we have first and second to amend the rules. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
I'll make a motion to pass.
I'll second that one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries, thank you.
Bounce. Aye. Ware.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
Bolte.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
That's all right.
And Clerk Treasurer Thomas Stipple, you have a letter regarding TIF
Yeah,
reporting.
every year the redevelopment commission has to do a letter to the executive and the fiscal body and actually the RDC itself and the redevelopment authority. Showing all the bonds, the payments to the employees, balances of bonds, TIF parcels. And what you see there is it's also the expenditures and incomes and where they came from. It just means to present that to you and to given it to Paul already to give to the redevelopment commission. The other one is we've amended the ARPA spending plan one other time. This amendment has mostly everything complete on it. A couple items that were not started, and everything else is into the senior center.
That allows a couple things. A lot of projects came in under budget, believe it or not, or were funded other through lit. So it isn't like we're leaving projects undone. We did look at, I know that previously the city applied for a grant to do that. Kind of when we went back through it would raise the cost of that senior about $150,000 going through the grant. And we would have to pay about 30% in order to qualify for the grant. minimum is 10, but to be competitive, you need to go about 30. So the cost would have been about 200 some $1,000 to even apply through a grant process versus the 472. Doesn't mean we can we'll use all 472 because we can still use some lit because it'll go into 2 fiscal years. So it won't probably get completed totally this year. And we can encumber some lit funds to make up the difference, or we can file for a smaller grant of maybe 70 to 100 to make up the difference. I project that it'll save at least $100,000 city by doing it this way versus going through the grant process. And we can use the grant for other, we can only apply for one at a time, so we can use it for blight elimination or something else. Yeah.
Tom, I don't recall, is this the ARPS, the revised spending plan, did this council approve that, or is that just?
Council approves it. I've got a copy here for them to sign.
Okay.
That just shows what we've done in 2023 completed. Pretty much.
Yeah, on the worksheet behind, on the second sheet, but that I marked down, it's a worksheet. It shows the first amendment, July 23rd of last year, and then this amendment here. Yeah, where the funds came and went to, in which categories.
Yeah, the additional sidewalk projects, since we had a savings on salary under lit, moved that under the street department for additional sidewalks to cover what wasn't done there. So the sidewalks will still get done.
And I don't know, as you recall, under the ARPA, we chose to do revenue replacement. And so because it was under, we received under $10 million. So we can do these projects. So I just would need an approval, and then I'll pass this around for your signatures.
If we need to, we can come back and readdress it again. But
Right. Well, yeah, sure.
make a motion to approve this spending plan.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you.
Gonna pass this around, and Neil, you can sign it, but I'm gonna change the name on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that.
then.
Does the board have any items as we pass this around that they'd like to discuss? We have several people here today, and I thank you for coming. We can open up this for citizens items, and I think some of it may be fireworks related or, and if anybody wants to speak and come forward, this is actually the first time I've had citizens come forward, so it's a great experience. Thank you.
Yeah.
But introduce yourselves, and
Come up to the podium.
so we have a podium here with a microphone. You are being recorded as you're speaking. That is part of the policy, but so anybody wants to come forward, come on up. And we'll all be asking you questions too, so that just to clarify what you're saying and be aware of that.
Hello, Glenn.
Oh, I was never sitting on that side of the table. But my name's Glenn Kays, and I live at 220 West Stellar Way in Hunters Crossing. And that area has taken the brunt of a lot of the noise complaints, I think, because of just the where this house is, where they're setting them off. Some people think they're coming within our area, but they're not. They're just outside of the area. But they're very loud. They're professional fireworks. They're not ones you buy at the local 5 and dime. They're spending big bucks on these things. And I don't have any small children. But I sure feel sorry for the ones who do have to get them to bed at night. And I know we got a dog that's just terrorized by them. But there needs to be a stop. We need an amendment to the ordinance or change the ordinance totally. One of the two, that's up to you folks. We need to stop it from happening past 9 o'clock. And that's all nights of the week. Now, I can see it happening that it's all right to set fireworks off at a proper time. 4th of July. Or maybe Memorial Day, you know, you folks set the times. But not every day of the week. I guess the worst of it was on the 19th of February. Can you think why on the 19th of February we need fireworks shut off?
Are these being done after 9 PM?
Yes. Yes.
Like around what time are they? Are they doing them all night long or they're just?
No, usually up to around 10:30.
Is it every night or how often has it
Well,
happened?
they've been running one night after to the next night, to the next night, to the next night. I didn't write it all down, but one of our neighbors had the complaints wrote down. They may be here this evening.
Got the dates.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
February 19th is a Monday night.
yeah. And you know. They gotta get their kids to bed for school the next morning.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta do something. So we're just pleading with you.
If they are actual commercial fireworks, they need permit signed by the fireman or by the fire chief, right, Phil?
Yeah, they're not, if there's fireworks are classified as either consumer fireworks, which anybody can purchase and fire and set off within limits. And then there's the commercial fireworks, and those can only be purchased with a permit and can only be discharged or used with a permit. But currently, assuming these are consumer fireworks, and they may not be, I don't know, but assuming they are, state law says you're prohibited from firing off consumer fireworks between the hours of 11 PM and 9 AM. Cannot do it. But cities and towns can be more strict. They can regulate those hours more strictly. We have not to this point regulated them more strictly. Now, there are certain exceptions where cities and towns are exempted or preempted from regulating, like during 4th of July week and during Christmas, or not Christmas,
New
New
Year's.
Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But other than that, the city could be more strict regulating, but currently it's just 9 PM, no use of fireworks between 9 PM. And 11 PM and 9 AM the next morning.
Right. Well, one thing I'd like to say about these fireworks. A lot of you know that I was in service. And a lot of you know where I've been. And it's startling to me to hear these things go off when you're least expecting it. It's really tough. Now, when I'm expecting it, I can tolerate it. But I can't tolerate it very well when there's no expectation of when they're gonna go off. And on a Monday night, I don't expect fireworks to go off, especially the loud booms that's going off. I was too close to it.
Do you know, are they being set off inside the city limits?
Yes,
So again, if the council chooses to regulate that more strictly than state law does, we can regulate use in city limits. You can't regulate it outside our city limits, but you can inside city limits.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
My name is Lee Pies, and I'm a new resident of Huntingburg, 8 months in. And in Hunter's Crossing at 107 West Stellar Way. And just adding to what Glenn stated, the fireworks have become a frustration. Even on the 4th of July. New Year's Day, there weren't commercial fireworks going off. There were professional grade fireworks right behind my home. exploding over my home. I had debris all over my yard, even up to my front door. It's very startling because in my previous neighborhood, 2 homes right beside mine burnt from fireworks. So it causes a great deal of anxiety for me. So I would like to see some addition to the ordinance that we can have a reasonable ordinance around what type of fireworks can be set off. I love fireworks. I love to see them, but not professional ones going off right over my home where it's not regulated. There's no fire department there in case of a fire. It's very concerning. Thank you.
Understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, what is the legal liability for someone who's shooting off professional fireworks and sets their neighbor's house on fire?
First of all, it's illegal unless they've got a permit from the fire marshal's office, and yeah, they're totally liable for any damage they cause as a result of that activity. Even if they were illegal fireworks, you're still legally liable for whatever damage you cause as a result of your negligent use of fireworks.
Thank you.
I have a question. What kind of permit are they required to have, or are they required to show this, the city that they have a permit for professional?
So, professional fireworks are governed by the state of Indiana, and so the city does not enforce, we can't enforce those.
Right.
Other than, I guess police could investigate those and refer those to the prosecutor.
Right.
But we don't permit those, we don't police the permits. That is a state
The
activity.
people that do apply for those, they do go to our chief Hine, who then contacts the state fire marshal. City does not issue the permit. State fire marshal is part of that permit process.
That permits on state what I've had to sign them several times.
So, yeah, so you do get a sign off from this chief, but it doesn't begin here.
Right.
Or approved here, actually, it's more or less that the chief does have to sign off on that state permit. But with the state fire marshal, he has to ask the same question, so.
Hi, my name is Camus Stillman. I'm actually on your list to speak next week, but
Oh.
since today I was here, I thought
Well, let's
it's already been brought up, so I'm just gonna keep bringing it. I live on 108 West Raider Court and also in Hunter's Crossing. I'm actually behind this case, or Pies. And I know exactly what she's referring to with the commercial versus industrial fireworks. And I think this is a result of people letting fireworks off in the streets. I know that specifically our neighborhood is city-owned streets. So I think it is against ordinance to let them off, in the cul-de-sac specifically, and that's where they do let them off in our cul-de-sac. I know, my child's bedroom is right beside where they let them off, so I am affected by that, but, specifically tonight, I want to talk more so about the ordinance and hopefully get a new one in place or amend the current one. So I do have specific dates of which these were let off. To best of our knowledge, the first date recorded is 2/7 of 24, 2/10, 2/19.
Do you know the times that they did you have that?
I
They
can
were-
go back and look, but I know that most of them range anywhere between 8:30 and 9:20 at night. Sorry, 2/10, 2/19, 2/21, 2/25, 2/27, 3/2, and 3/7. I also have recordings from my home, from my personal cameras, on how loud they actually are. So I spoke on 3/7 with an officer, Officer Valentine. He was sitting in the Huntingburg Events Center's parking lot and he was watching them go off. And I called, I know he can't do anything about it, but I want to know what I can do about it. And he recommended coming to you all, and he said that he has a minimum of 20 calls a night every time these go off, him by himself. And it is between 2 addresses, one on Leland Drive and one on Cherry Street, which is behind the bowling alley. And they're almost in competition. It depends on which house let them off that night. And they're both very similar between time periods. And Officer Valentine said that they're all recorded, the calls, through their dispatch, and that you all could obtain those records if you please, of all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, our officers, we have had some of our officers that have spoken to some of the families and
Yes,
asked them to not do so.
yes,
And that's about as far as we can go right now.
right.
You know, and I think Phil Schneider, as our city attorney, can probably address this a little bit more. Right now, when we talk about ordinance, my understanding, we're working under the state statutes right now versus, so when we talk about changing the ordinance, there really is no ordinance, and it's difficult.
We would have.
Yeah, the only thing we could do is not really eliminate the noise, but the time that they can do them. There are times of the year, as Mr. Schneider pointed out, I think around 4th of July, there's like 7 days, maybe,
Yes.
somewhere in that rare area where we can't regulate at all.
I believe it's the weekend before and the weekend.
Yeah, and there's specific days spelled out as well as around New Year's and some other areas. And so that's where they say you cannot, but I'm not the attorney here, but you can actually, as council, consider an ordinance that would probably limit that. I think we have to look to see from an enforcement standpoint, who's responsible for that enforcement. I think it would be probably city police, but I don't know.
So are the people letting them off, are they in Hunter's Crest, like they're in your cul-de-sac?
Well, I mean, okay, so the ones that are, they're the ones that are letting them off during 4th of July, or I believe New Year's Eve night was the other one. And
But
I
these
know-
current ones are Leyland and Chestnut?
correct, my neighbors are not letting them off outside of those special occasions. So the new ordinance, we did talk about it as a community, and I think we need to bring into the effect of our demographics. So some of the holidays that I think should be included are possibly Cinco de Mayo, you're thinking Memorial Day, but possibly 4th of July, New Year's Eve. And I know that a big part of this fireworks might play into the football team. I know they let off fireworks as well during touchdowns. So that's something that could be omitted from this, as well as the Bombers. They let off fireworks as well for home runs, so I think they should also be omitted from this.
We had the Red, White, and Bronze Festival. We have a lot of
Yes.
things, but I think it definitely could be considered in the ordinance for a special event programming.
Absolutely.
Where there are exceptions to public hearing where somebody can apply to have special events. Type of things, where that be a football game or a Bombers game or a music festival or something where that's a part of the event.
Should the council take this up? Is there a particular time that you have, your neighbors have discussed? Just
I mean,
currently it's 11 PM.
that is very late.
That's not, and that's a state statute according to Phil. If we would choose to adopt an ordinance, the city could make it more restrictive, excluding those certain times that the state deems you can't be more restrictive. But what would be the latest time that anybody would even consider?
I mean, obviously, I think that with young children, they're mostly asleep by 8:30, 9 o'clock. I think it's the latest. Small children are, at least mine is, hopefully. So I believe Old County was 10. I think that was the absolute latest during those times of the year. And I think that's reasonable to not ask after 10 o'clock. I mean, nothing that happens after 9. One of that.
A lot of times in the summertime, it gets dark at 9:30 about, and that's what they always wait for, the dark to see the.
I mean, if
that
you
would
can
be.
afford 30 minutes for the fireworks, we can talk, but
So,
So you're saying one of the people shooting them off is in your complex, is in Hunter's Cross?
no, not the ones that are letting them off these dates. They are not in my neighborhood. The fireworks that Mrs. Pies was referring to during, I believe it was New Year's Eve and for the July this past year, they were letting them off in the middle of our cul-de-sac. And I actually asked their children to come and pick up all the debris in my yard as well. And if it's reaching her house, that means it's going over my 2-story home into hers. So, I mean, they were really big fireworks. I can't contest whether or not they were commercial. I just know they were very big, but again, they were right in the middle of our cul-de-sac.
One of the homes on Chestnut borders Hunter's Crossing pretty much, so
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
close enough to be
I mean, is it,
a distraction.
So
Is it-
Wheatland Drive is the one that is having the contest right now. Leland and Cherry Street.
I mean, does the HOA
Yes,
have
no,
power
Just
to do something inside your subdivision? No.
No wording in our HOA that has anything to do with that. It's just, except for, we have barking dogs, which the HOA has a rule on that. And certain aggravating type noise.
Yeah.
Currently, our HOA is still with our developer. She has not handed that over to.
That's not.
No, that's not true.
Oh, did they hand it over?
Yes.
Okay, I
You have
apologize.
you have two board members, right? Commissioner?
Oh,
Yeah, that was in October, so, yeah.
okay. Well, then I'm sorry I missed that meeting. I apologize.
We haven't got our letter out yet.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm sorry, I was on that. So it is handed over, but yes, there is no ordinance for the HOA currently.
The HOA haven't been to your house yet.
Apparently.
Apparently the board has not been to your house yet.
That's good. I hope they do.
even if the HOA did have a restriction on fireworks, it's difficult for you to enforce it
There's
as,
no set wording.
yeah.
Well, and I don't think it would affect Leland Driver.
No,
No,
they
they couldn't.
would.
Anything neighboring would
Right.
But
be
it would
excluded.
affect, them from letting them off in the middle of the street. I
Well,
believe the current ordinance they're supposed to be in their own yard.
Now, state law says you can fire them off unless you're regulated by the city between 11, except for between 11 PM and 9 AM. But it must be on your property or on a property from which you have the consent of the owner, or in a public display area that's approved for public display.
Yes.
So, I mean, if the police know that they're firing them off on the city street, they could ticket it up for that. Before state law against that offense.
I mean, there's.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, thank you. You can be intimidating coming between this group here, and we appreciate people coming forward and asking questions. We need to be challenged sometimes and look at things, so it's great, thank you. Any other citizen items? Do you have anything today, Malia, or? We have a member of the Mayor's Youth Council here, so she does report back to the Youth Council, the meetings, and we appreciate your time on the council.
We have a mayor's youth council meeting next week.
Yes, I showed up this morning, but it was delayed because of the BPA.
Yes.
Glad to see that some people won some awards up there with the BPA. That was great.
How did your garden collection, the tulip collection go?
I forget.
Okay.
There's a lot of people involved. I will actually probably take you right after this. I know someone said about, telling you a little bit about the Sky's the Limit event. Did you want me to tell you a little bit about that?
Yes, please, because that,
Come on up.
another example of with some sensory issues and things that going on. There is an alternate event during the solar eclipse where you don't have to be around big bands and crazy stuff. And Malia's been a proponent of that for the last couple of years. So thank you.
Okay, so, you probably have heard, my story from, one place or another. But my nephew has Down syndrome, so we got into the special needs and disabilities community. So, we started an event called The Sky's the Limit. We have vendors sharing, information, to these families. And this information, is a wide range. It could be, different support groups. It could be, different things like getting fences or, just a wide range, helping with schooling or, getting ramps and different stuff that is out there, but, we don't hear about it. So, we're trying to be the middleman here. There's so much out there that we didn't know about, going with, Isaiah. So, that's our main goal. We did talk to the, is it the fire chief?
Yes.
And we're gonna get a small fire truck to be there. So, I know small children, around this generation, they're really scared of, police officers and, fire chiefs. So, we're gonna have a few people there, yeah.
It starts at 11 a.m. Is that correct?
It starts at 11 and it ends at 3. It is not an all-day affair, so you can pop in, pop out. Is there any real questions that you have about this event.
What day was that?
What was the date?
It's April 6th. It's gonna be at the Honeyberg Event Center.
Plan on be coming in around 11, so
Okay.
we'll be there. And Chief Hein will have his truck, and we'll try to have some other things in the city there, but.
So it is not on the eclipse day, it's on the sixth, okay.
Yeah, it's- we do have speakers, coming in. They're, they talk about a wide range of different topics. I know one is about autism on the sea. That's my uncle from Portage, and he's gonna talk a little bit about that. I don't know if we're gonna have a speaker on the Medicaid waiver. I don't. He's coming. Oh, he is coming in? Okay, so we have a person coming in to talk about the Medicaid waiver. If you wanna know more about that, then you can listen to that. And then there is one, people with special needs and disabilities, they wanna work, they may feel limited and stuff like that. People, I can get this a little bit. People complain that there's not a lot of people wanting to work, but there's a whole workforce out there. So, there's a lady coming in, Rose to Whiskey, that will talk about, how these people can get a job. So, that's another interesting, thing coming in. We'll also have food trucks there, so,
Very good.
There you go.
Great.
anything else?
Well, Thank you. Leah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, people.
Yeah, that's the best.
See, we have no more citizens, items. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
1 second.
We have a second by Pam. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So what do we have? 6:05?
We're doing good.
Thank you.
Hey, kids.
Small because we beat him.
We still have.
What are look at Kessler's small because we beat him.
Okay.